Yes, it is, ladies and gentlemen, Father Hines and his great band playing for you from the new Grand Terrace on Chicago's Great South Side. Get ready now for 30 minutes.
Pardon my dust.
Super jive in the Father Hines style. Yeah. What could this be? Ah, it's a Limehouse Blues.
Okay. 504 people ahead of me. Great. I'll get in the queue the other night. Hey, everybody. Hey, Beth, Becky, Marcia, Zap, Kristen. I'm going to Memphis. Jacksonville just didn't quite work out. I'm now in two different queues. But all right, everybody, welcome along. Hey, Lynn, hey, Eileen. I'm doing 2 nights in Memphis. End of March. Just waiting on people in the queue ahead of me to get out of the queue ahead of me. Come on now. Marcia, these two will be 65 and 66 for me. If you see enough Bob Dylan concerts before you die, you're not even really dead. I got 2 different windows going at the same time that I will do a tour. We're just hanging out for a second here. Now I got 61 people ahead of me for night 1. I really wanted a better one for night 2, though. Morning, Gwendolyn. Morning, Karen. All right, night 1 is moving a lot faster than night 2. I don't know why. It's bothering me. Stupid Ticketmaster just stresses me out every time. We got some itineraries for my March groups in New York. We're seeing Hamilton. Then I'll be seeing Back to the Future again. All right, here we go. Here I go. It's my turn for night 1. Hey, everybody, welcome along. Hey, Sullivan Grave. I'm looking for my paperwork on the Sullivan file. I can't seem to find it. One of those things that driving me nuts this morning. And there are many. All right, almost there.
give our faithful seat a slap and carry on in jive. Hi-ho, Silver!
Almost there. Sit tight, verifying tickets on 2 different devices. Hey, everybody. Slightly stressful for me. Okay. No G Orchestra Center for the last night of the tour. But all right, that's all I really needed right now, so we can stop. Earl Father Hines, welcome along, everybody. I am working from home today, not really because of the tickets coming on sale. Really, it was because I've got the Chimney guy coming in a little bit. So welcome along, everybody. So what we're going to be doing today is we're just going to look at a couple of the lost stories that I happen to have set up in here. One of them that I know that we've covered before, I've been talking a lot about Evelyn Campbell, who was a woman who reported on the Johann Hawk case back in 1905. Another great woman crime reporter was Kay Hall of the Chicago Daily Times in the 1930s. She did a lot of interesting stuff, among which was reporting on the death of John Dillinger. The death of John Dillinger occurred it occurred down by the Biograph Theater in Lincoln Park, but also this old mansion, now a lawyer's office, is the funeral home where his body was laid out. This is up on North Sheridan, North Broadway area, up in the uptown vicinity, a little ways north of Graceland Cemetery. Here he is laid out on the slab in the morgue. That is his arm under there, but it does look like he is awfully happy to be there on that slab, thus launching the legend of Dillinger's Ding-a-ling. But among the people reporting on it was Kay Hall, who wrote this particular article with such a fantastic headline and subhead. John Dillinger's brain now resting in pieces. Just one thing is sure, outlaw's still dead. Well, they say that that's sure, but of course there are lots of conspiracy theories saying that it wasn't really him who was on that slab, as tends to happen anytime there is a death like this that is just such an affront to normalcy that people have to come up with theories about it. Now, I don't know if she would have written those headlines herself. Often that was done in rewrites, or somebody else was in charge of that. A lot of reporters at this time would just kind of go out and gather their data, then call in the data and be like, get me a rewrite. And then they would type it up. This is part of why we notice a lot of discrepancies in the way different stories were reported in different papers. Just like minor details. A lot of that's because between what happened, the notepad, the rewrite desk, and the typesetting desk, little details kind of get thrown around a little bit, even like from edition to edition within the same paper. But this is Kay herself. This is from a kind of a stunt she did. This would have been like old-fashioned stunt reporting by then, where she got herself a job as the only woman taxi driver in the city, and found out that rich people like to tip her with like an orange and stuff. And a couple of women would get in the car saying, nope, I'm not driving in a car that a woman is driving. But one of my favorite little details about her is really about her husband, who one day went to Minneapolis and went to a place called Mickey's Dunking Hour, a coffee and donut shop that would that encourage you to dunk your donuts in your coffee. And he thought, well, that's a great idea. There should be a place where you can dunk your donuts in every city. People used to tell me it was bad manners. It would be relaxing. He thought it would be encouraged as a sort of spiritual therapy for over-inhibited city folk. Like, okay, Mickey. Okay, Gordon. A place to dunk donuts in every city. Got any other winners for us? Well, I'll tell you what, Gordon. Don't call us. We'll call you. I just think that's hysterical, personally. What else I've got in this one? On this deck, as it were. Thanks, everybody, for sticking around with me while I bought concert tickets. I sometimes have to do right at 10 o'clock in the morning. Looks like for last night I am in Orchestra Row G. But this is a house on Roscoe here in Chicago that still stands, that was once the home of Elias Purcell, another famous songwriter out of Duluth, Minnesota. Now, I got kind of excited when I was with my school group last week. They did an organ and recital and a chorus recital at Grace Church in the Village. And one of the people they were singing, one of the pieces they were singing, the songwriter was Mr. Purcell. Purcell? I know that guy. Then I realized, no, this is a Purcell from the 1600s that they're singing. Not necessarily the same guy from the early 20th century. He would write songs. He wrote like parlor songs and things. But then one day he was found dead inside of this place. He had his hands tied behind his back, but they couldn't find a murder weapon. They couldn't find anything that actually could have killed him. One theory was that he somehow managed to stop his own heart or scare himself to death. Nobody really knew. So they came up with this whole thing. It became known as the murder mystery of 1,000 clues. Like, they noticed there was some broken glass nearby. They noticed that he was bound and somewhat gagged. They noticed that there were bundles found pinned together and things hanging out of the keyhole. The kitchen door was closed but not locked. The table for breakfast was set for 3. Now, eventually the police said that table setting, that's camouflage. Which, camouflage was their new favorite word. It had become a word that people knew in World War I, and they just couldn't wait to use it in a sentence. So the question here was this a murder, or was it a suicide? And that was an important question, because if it was a suicide, the family wouldn't get the insurance money. But again, they could not find anything like... They couldn't find any kind of murder weapon. Eventually, what they found was, after the autopsy, he had died of nicotine poisoning, which, if you get a hold of some nicotine, is very easy to do. Just a couple of drops of pure nicotine is enough to kill somebody. But it was very hard to get pure nicotine, and druggists remembered it enough. If somebody bought nicotine from them, they would remember like a year later. The main reason to use it was as a pesticide. Like, one person's remembered, I sold some nicotine to somebody about a year ago. She said she was going to take it up to Rose Hill Cemetery for some graves that are on from flowers that are on a relative's grave. In this case, they couldn't figure out if he was tied up like this, how could he have administered the nicotine to himself? One theory is maybe he had it tied to a rag and the rag eventually dripped into his mouth. It seems awfully complicated, but in any case, it was enough to trick the insurance company. If in fact this was dying by suicide and not a murder, it was at least a good enough cover-up to the insurance company to decide to make the payout here. So yeah, this is one of those buildings that is still standing. It should have been easy to follow that giant hole in the wall. Obviously somebody must have busted into this place. So, all right, everybody, I am home to wait for the chimney guy to show up today. Tomorrow, we will be back to doing Find a Grave Friday, just like normal. And tomorrow at 7 p.m., tune back in. Normally, we do Whiskey and a Cookie on the Patty Vasquez page. Tomorrow, I will actually be doing a live stream of a music gig that I will be playing over at Capricorn downtown. I haven't played a music gig in a long time, so I've been rehearsing. I was rehearsing, and I was so bad yesterday. But this morning, I'm doing a little bit better. So here's hoping, everybody. Thank you very much. I'm Adam for Mysterious Chicago Tours, telling everybody to stay safe and stay strong. And of course, if you can, stay spooky, everybody.